Hello, everybody.
And welcome to Today in LA. We're moving around sort of quickly this morning, getting ready for a Wednesday. Thank goodness it's Wednesday as we head down, what they call it?
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day. And of course, Bill Rice is with me, and we're going to be talking sports. Max Howell's going to be calling in from his residence in Mississippi also this morning, and we hope to get these lights in front of us turned on eventually and make us pretty this morning on a beautiful, beautiful day in the neighborhood. And in fact, the Troy neighborhood, it looks real good. But
we survived the tropical storm.
It sure did, yeah.
And did your beach house come out okay?
Well, I from what I gather,
your beach condo.
Yeah, from what I gather, everything went well.
Panama City Beach is okay.
Yeah. It happens a lot of times. It's always not as bad as it was predicted to be. Let's say that.
Usually it's not, but then we all remember the times that they were. Right.
It wasn't not long before that big hurricane hit Panama City, and there's still a lot of work to be done down there.
Yeah, that was only about a year or two ago.
That's right, 2 years ago, I think. Maybe 3, I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
Michael Amos is expected to be calling in from Grayton Beach in just a few moments as we get ready for a weekend of high school and football. And of course, looking at ahead of things on Wednesday night next week, we've got a college game. It's AA Jacksonville State against 1A UAB, and UAB should wear them out, but it doesn't happen that easy, does it? Jack State seems to play hard against teams like this.
Jack State can play. They're a top 10 1AA team, and they've proven that they can play with the big boys. I think they were up on Florida State 14-0. They ended up being beat pretty bad, but they were leading Florida State 14-0. We all remember that they had a chance to beat Auburn several years ago. So, and then I have read that Jack State has a really good quarterback.
Supposedly. Yeah, he's transferred from Auburn. He played there for the last 2 years, and they expect big things from him this year. And of course, they get a lot of players that Alabama and Auburn can't get, grade-wise and some of that. They get 64. I think they get 64 players on scholarship. Division I, like Troy, gets 85 or 84 players on scholarship at one time. I was looking this morning, and of course they're talking this morning about Pike Road and how it has developed so quickly into a powerhouse. I rode by that the other day, and I bet you there weren't 100 kids out there in football gear, in full football gear. There wasn't 200 people in full. I bet you there was 300 kids in that area in full gear. I mean, some of them were Pee-wee kids, a lot of Pee-wee kids, but Pike Road has developed into a powerhouse. Have you noticed that? You live there. Did you realize it was going to be like this?
I think I did, because I just saw the exponential growth rate. So there are a lot of students and a lot of good student athletes that are moving into Pike Road, and that'll continue. So no, I'm not surprised at all. You ought to see the home construction in Pike Road that has never really stopped in about the last 7 years.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
And the thing is, the mayor and the planning committee that planned Pike Road. They're houses where people don't think they're houses. You can go all the way to the Waters, that fancy place down there where all the rich people are moving to the Waters down there.
The Waters is neat.
It sure is a very unique place, and and then just houses going up, you know, and you would think that there would be more of just say 2, 3, and 5 acre plots, but that's not it. They're sticking them right next to each other.
I'll tell you, I lived in a subdivision called Woodland Creek, which was developed by Louder New Homes. A lot of people have heard of. They've developed a lot of subdivisions in Montgomery. Mr. Louder, nice man, Jimmy Louder.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Thank you, sir.
I lived on.
Get these lights here if you don't mind. Well, we want to have good lighting. Yeah, hand me that right there and see what happens.
But they, you can read that while I was the next to the last house on the left on my street when I bought my house in that neighborhood, you know, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. And then they cut a road through there about a year after I'd been there and started developing a new section of that subdivision. And I bet today there are 400 houses that are in that one new
section. And it's where, good morning, you're on Today in LA. How you doing?
Hey, morning.
Mike Amos coming in here on Zoom television, and we'll have his face up there in a moment. And of course, Mike is calling us from the friendly shores of Grayton Beach, Florida. How's everything down there?
It's nice. We got lucky with the tropical storm. It hit, you know, more around Port St. Joe, Apalachicola, Cape San Blas area. Really didn't have much rain, so we were very lucky. Water's a little rough though. We got double red flags, but there's definitely some people still down here. I've seen a lot of Georgia tags still, and Louisiana and Texas. So I guess some schools start later than others.
Yeah. You know, I've got I reckon it would be a grandniece, I don't know, a grandniece that goes to the University of Michigan, and they don't even start school until the 1st of October. Can you believe that?
Wow, that is crazy.
I mean, and you know, they are well. All right, that date might have been it was. Maybe the last week in September, but that's still a long ways off. And a lot of Michigan, the school football team probably would have played already 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, they would have played.
But she loves Michigan.
September the 4th.
But this young lady loves Michigan, buddy. She's so happy to be at the University of Michigan.
Well, she knows what it's like to really have a winner.
But I'm proud for her, and of course her sister has enrolled. They live in Maryland, and one went to Michigan, and the other is enrolled at Auburn. Should I tell my folks about going to Auburn?
You said what about going to Auburn? What are you talking about?
No, I was just thinking of old you know, the guy. He met this guy, and he told him, he said he had children that were going to the University of Alabama, and had children going to Troy University, and he said he was wondering should he tell that guy that he had one daughter going to Auburn. You know, these Auburn jokes, you know, these Auburn Alabama jokes this morning on our show. And of course we appreciate Alabama Real Estate Connection, and that's a big real estate company right here in Troy, and they can find you a house today, I promise you. Now let me tell you, Rice, all right, you've got that huge development, apartment development just right off of the well, I call it
Elm Street?
Yeah, no, not Elm. Well, at Elm Street, they've got that development. Looks like it's ready to.
We got one on our street where Troy Cable is.
Yeah, they look like they're ready to move people in. It's a beautiful thing. They got things so relevant about it is they have fireplaces.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah. They had the ones on Elm Street. Then on South Brunny Street, a big, huge development going. That's a big project there, still going on. So, and then these smaller projects you'll find are going up. But you look at the one on M Street, and you look at the one on South Front Street, and I think some of these are they're not townhomes. You wouldn't call them townhomes, but they're very unique. A lot of people could live there forever. You know, beautiful apartments going up right here, and actually about to be completed right here in Troy. And I ride by there every day, and this place on South Brundage Street is a huge development. So people still feel like that there's students that need housing at Troy. and the amazing thing about it, the minute they start offering it to the public, asking them to go ahead and move in.
It's funny you're mentioning that. I was reading an article the other day. These are the 25 fastest growing cities in Alabama, and I thought Troy would be on there, but they're not. What
are some of them? Did it tell you?
Number one is Gulf Shores. Gulf Shores went from 9,700 people in 2010 to now 15,014.
A lot of people moving to the beach, yeah.
So that's 54% percentage change. Then after that, I've heard a lot of good things about this place. Spanish Fort went from 6,700 people to 10,049.
That's the Mobile area, right on the bay.
Then I lived in Birmingham. For 17 years, and on and off. And Chelsea is growing like crazy. It went from 10,000 to 15,000 people.
And that's right next to Montebello. No, or is it next to? It's out toward Gadsden, isn't it?
No, Chelsea's down 280.
All right, 280. Okay.
You pass Greystone, and then you drive over Oak Mountain, and then you're in Chelsea.
And
after that, I've heard great things about this place as well. Fairhope went from 15,000 people to 23,000 people.
That's the Great Beach of Alabama. That's where the beautiful
that's
people
the
live.
Mobile Bay Area, and that Mobile Bay Area is moving, isn't it? Go ahead.
That's rich real estate down there in Fairhope.
Yeah. Tell us the next one, Mike.
You want to hear something really shocking? This is Alabama's fastest growing cities from 2010 to 2020. Auburn went from 53,300 to over 76,000.
Isn't that amazing? And we're not talking about Auburn, Opelika. We're talking about Auburn, aren't we?
So we're talking about 23,000 people in 10 years.
That's huge growth. You're
amazing.
Right. And then of course Auburn and Opelika are twin cities, and you throw that's well over 100,000 people in that area now.
Yep.
And then you've got number 6 on the list, the fastest growing city, Calera, which is off 65.
All right, that's the one I was thinking about. Yeah.
So Calera is outside of Alabaster. They went from 11,600 to almost 17,000.
And there must be a lot of development within the perimeter of the interstate.
Well, that means a lot of people are moving out of Birmingham too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay.
Then after that, number 7 on the list is Foley. Foley went from 14,600 to 20,300.
Again, right in the middle. That's right down there toward the beach, and of course, anywhere around water, it's going to be growth, and there's a lot of growth in that area. And
this is amazing to think about, because Tuscaloosa now has like around 100,000 residents, but Northport went from 23,300 to over 31,000. So 8,000 more people that live in Northport.
So they're building north.
That puts Tuscaloosa at about 135,000 people.
Oh man! And see, a lot of people think that Tuscaloosa's growth is within the river. It's actually a lot of growth on the other side of the river, isn't it, Mike?
Mm-hmm. Well, you got Indian Hills Country Club out that way. You got North River Yacht Club out that way. I mean, there's some really high-end places to live around that area. Okay,
this is fun. Let's find out.
Then number 9 is no surprise here. Madison went from 42,000, basically 43,000 to 57,000.
Well, where is Pike Road? It's not even in the top 10.
I know.
It's 25, so I'm only on number.
Let me mention this about Madison. you know, I used to travel to Huntsville a lot in my work, and I always wondered would Huntsville finally actually connect to 85, and would Decatur also connect to 85 and make two huge twin cities? But Madison, right there in the middle of it, its population goes all the way to the interstate, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
So that's really growing.
I've never been to Madison.
Growing. I tell you what, the athletic teams are good.
10, you got Trust Vegas. Trust Vegas outside of Birmingham went from 20,000 to over 26,000. So a lot of people are moving out that way as well.
Trustville.
Yeah, Trustville, yeah.
So that's
skip down the Pike Road and tell us what their numbers are.
Okay, that was the top 10 of fastest growing cities in the last 10 years in the state of Alabama. At number 11, you got Daphne. Daphne went from 21,500 to 28,000.
Again, the Mobile Bay area. Yeah,
now, I know a lot of people from Birmingham are moving this area. It's a cute little community. Helena went from 6,700 to almost 21,000.
Okay.
Muscle Shoals, they got the Swampers. They went from 13,000 to over 16,000.
Yeah, and of course that's the Florence area. Okay.
And then we know some people from this town. Coleman went from 14,000 to 18,000.
Boy, what a great place!
Big jump for Coleman.
I've heard some real good things about Coleman. Yeah.
And then Saraland, another Mobile town, went from 13,000 to 16,000. Mm-hmm. And then this is the biggest jump of them all. Huntsville, Alabama is now the biggest city in Alabama. They went from 180,000 people to over 215,000.
Oh boy, that is something. That is a lot of growth. And of course,
the biggest city in Alabama is now Huntsville. Not even Birmingham.
And what we're talking about here is high tech, high tech, high tech.
Government.
I mean, a lot of high tech.
NASA.
Yeah, NASA, all of those.
Redstone Arsenal and NASA.
I imagine if you looked at the salaries range in those areas, that would probably be the top salary range of any town in Alabama too, wouldn't you think?
Mm-hmm. Probably, oh yeah. Then after that, you went, Phoenix City went from around 33,000 to 39,000.
That surprises me in Phoenix City. That's great.
I never realized that many people lived in Phoenix City. Opelika went from 26,000 to over 31,000. So that puts now Auburn, Opelika. Auburn's at 76. Opelika's at 31.
Over 100,000 people.
Isn't that amazing how big that is now?
That's right.
Number 18 on the list is the fastest growing city in the last 10 years in Alabama. Athens, Alabama, right on the Tennessee border, went from 21,000 to 25,500.
And that's another town that I said, would the city of Huntsville ever actually connect with Athens? And it looks like it's already done it. You know, and there it goes.
This is one of the dales outside of Birmingham, north of Birmingham. Gardendale went from 13,000 to 16,000. They have a huge high school up there. I've been there before. It's really nice. And then the last on the list is Vestavia Hills. You know, a big suburb outside of Birmingham went from 34,000 to 39,000.
Yeah. So
that's outside of you know, Birmingham.
Mike, you've lived in Birmingham, and you know, you've got Vestavia, and you got Mountain Brook, and then you've got Homewood. And people tell me that because of the cost of real estate and school zones, that everybody's just dying to actually go live in
Homewood.
Homewood, yeah. Well, is that true? Have you ever heard that?
There's not a whole lot of property in Homewood. Yeah, it's real tiny.
The value of the property, though, probably is not as bad as Vestavia.
I mean, you can live in a 1,000 square foot shack in Mountain Brook and it would sell for $500,000 and $700,000.
And most of that would be school zoning. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, Homewood's got a great school system. I mean, Mountain Brook's got a great school system. Vestavia's got a great school system. Hoover's got a great school system. I mean, you can't go wrong.
So south, the Birmingham area is still growing then, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it always will be. I mean, to the suburbs for sure. I mean, Birmingham Metro is shrinking, and the suburbs are getting bigger.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, so Best Davis 21. This surprised me because you always hear a lot of people leaving Anniston, but Jacksonville, Alabama, went from 12,500 to 14,500. So
but now most of those live in Oxford, though, don't they, Mike? Most of them live in Oxford.
You're saying Jacksonville, Alabama.
Jacksonville. For Jacksonville State, what did it say?
It's increased 2,000 people in the last 10 years.
How many people live in Jacksonville?
How in the world is Troy not on this list? Troy had to grow that over the last 10
well,
years.
it's all based on a percentage, so it would be,
how many people lived in Jacksonville, Mike? How many people actually lived in?
It says 14,385.
Yeah, and that's why almost all of the college almost, because it's not a lot going on in Jacksonville unless there's been some development recently.
And then the last three, you got Pelham, Alabama. Pelham went from 21,000 to almost 24,500. Hoover, Alabama. This is amazing to think of Hoover. Hoover went from 81,000 to almost 93,000 people now live in Hoover.
Okay, that is big. And
and then Mountain Brook. I mean, not Mountain Brook, and Millbrook outside of Prattville. Millbrook's 25th on the list. It went from 14,000 to almost 17,000.
It amazes me that Montgomery, most all of them are actually on a decline for some reason. Is that right?
No, Montgomery's shrinking big time.
I mean, it's,
all the big metros. Birmingham's shrinking, Mobile's shrinking.
Yeah. But
the only big metro that's not shrinking is Huntsville.
Well, what was Pike Road's number?
Yeah, what was Pike Road's number?
They were not on there.
See, that really surprises me, yeah.
Something's up, because, there is no way that Pike, and I have seen stories that said Pike Road was the second fastest growing city in Alabama. So maybe it was not included in the 2010 census, but the population of Pike Road has gone from about 2,000 or 3,000 to about 9,000, I would say, in a decade. That's a 4,000% increase.
Bryce, read us the information we have right in front of us, and this is very important information if you have children going to.
There will be no school on Friday in Pike County schools.
The bottom part.
Yeah, this is the same thing.
Okay.
This will allow for the deep cleaning and sanitation of all campuses beginning Friday and extending through the weekend. This is due to rising COVID cases. So no school, Pike County schools, Goshen, Pike County High School, etc. On Friday. There'll also be no in-class school on Monday, but that was already planned. That's going to be a virtual learning day.
So that's a 4-day weekend, isn't that right?
Well, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, Tuesday, so that 5 days.
Has the Charleston Pike County game been canceled?
No, it says co-curricular activities may continue Friday and through the weekend unless they are limited by COVID restrictions. So I guess that means that the football game is still on as far as we know, because that would be a co-curricular activity.
Yep. And that game kicks off at 7 o'clock from Veterans Memorial Stadium in Troy, Pike County High School, and Charles Henderson. Big rival game, and of course it's a jamboree. But it's really a knockdown, drag-out affair, I promise you. Should be a good one.
Well, if you got Pike County has 23 players like they normally have, if you had 1 or 2 that tested positive, and then you have the protocols of anybody they came in contact with, that would make it it'll be amazing if Pike County gets through the season without forfeiting or canceling.
Of course, it's also a huge game over at Pike Liberal Arts. Pike Liberal Arts, they welcome Escambia Academy of Atmore, and should be quite a game. Of course, 2 well-known coaches. Coach White has built a program. It looks like he's built quite a program at Pike Liberal Arts, and your friend and my friend is quite a coach at Escambia.
No, he's one of the great gentlemen and people that I've ever met, Coach Hugh Fountain.
Yeah, that's right. He's been around. And
an interesting story out of South Carolina. Of course, Dad thinks Troy might could beat South Carolina. Their starting quarterback Luke Doty had a sprained ankle, and looks like will not play against Eastern Illinois to start the season on September the 4th. So they've had to go to a graduate assistant coach. So I want him on the roster.
Oh God!
Outside at quarterback. So it's going to be interesting to follow that situation throughout the year at South Carolina. They're having to bring in a kid that want him on the roster.
You're right.
Kind of similar to when Troy ran out of running backs Lindsey's first year, and he had to bring the kid out of Opelika Hospital that was a walk-on who was like delivering DoorDash.
Yeah.
The guy ends up running the ball like 15 times against Akron. I don't know if y'all remember that or not.
Yeah.
It was only a couple of years ago.
No, I don't remember that. That's a great story, though.
But,
yeah. So that's interesting to see what's going on in South Carolina. Of course, Shane Beamer started his first year as a head coach. I'm sure his dad would be really involved in the program, Frank Bender as well.
No question about it. And that we appreciate that information this morning. And
you know, I've been looking hard at all the season totals of. You know, you can make bets on how many games a given team will win if it's over the number or under. For example, Auburn is 6.5. Do you think Auburn's going to win 7 games?
I like Auburn in
or
that
do you think they'll win less than 7? So you could bet on that. But I'm reading headlines this morning that the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and probably other conferences are saying that they will not make up games because of the COVID protocols. If the protocols kick in and you don't have enough players to play, that is a forfeit, a loss. So that kind of throws into disarray all of these people that are thinking about these win totals, because you don't know how many teams are going to take an L just because of the protocols, and it's going to be probably a fair number.
Well, of course, we just have to wait to see what happens there. And of course,
I was reading an article on ESPN, and they're saying that you know, Troy's in the East, in the Sun Belt, and you know, Troy's picked to finish last in the East, but they're saying the East is so much stronger than the West as far as the teams. So you got to think about it. Troy's in the East. You got Coastal Carolina, App State, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, and then Troy.
Oh boy!
So all those teams are really good ahead of Troy. But then if you went to the West, it's really Lafayette and Arkansas State, and that's it. But Arkansas State only won 3 games last year, so Troy is definitely in the toughest division. Lafayette, Louisiana, you know, should win the West to represent that side and be in the conference championship for sure. Of course, that's at a neutral site. So whoever has the best records and best, you know, I think rankings in the Sun Belt determines where that game will be played. You know, Troy still never had that championship game in Troy. That'd be something if that could ever happen.
I keep saying if Troy could just get on the run, get some momentum, they could run the table in the Sun Belt Conference.
It all comes down to quarterback play, though, really. I mean, you've got to have a consistent quarterback. You can't have the turnovers Troy's had over the last couple of years, especially inside the red zone. Troy's had a lot of turnovers.
I think so. Quarterback, and then defense. If you got you can, your defense ought to show up every week, right? If you got a good defense.
Yeah, defense actually improved tremendously year 2 compared to the first year. In the first year, Troy was just in shootouts every week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I say defense shows up. I say defense shows up every week, but I've been reading Mike's Phil Steele magazine, and it's funny that you see some teams that are really good most weeks, and then all of a sudden they, out of the blue, they give up 600 yards offense to some team. You know, like Alabama did to Ole Miss last year. Ohio State.
Yeah, Troy's got to have balance. So, like, the running game looked so good against Middle Tennessee State to start the season. They've got to find a way to run for 175 yards a game.
Well,
if they can have that, then they'll have a lot better chance to beat some of these teams because they'll hold the ball a little longer as well. They won't just give it right back.
You're exactly right. You've got to develop some kind of running game to shut down the other team's attack and not let them kill the ball on you. You know, a good rushing team can hold it for 7-8 minutes at a time. You know.
If you can just get a key first down, you change field position, and then you keep your defense on the sidelines for another 10 minutes. But that really goes back to offensive line. Can you count on your offensive line to get you that 1 or 2 yards on 3rd and 2?
We're going to take a break, and of course we want to mention that our show is brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Ram, and Ram trucks on the bypass, and of course they've got a great selection of cars to choose from. And right now, and we've talked about it, this is the last great sale of the summer. And they are really ready to go on this $99 a month, and you're driving a wonderful new or used car from the Premier. In fact, if you got in your pocket $29 down in your pocket, and you can walk in there and look at all the brands, Acura, BMW, Nissan, Infiniti, Ford, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, minivans, convertibles, trucks, 4x4, and on and on. A great selection of cars and trucks. And like we said, $29 down and $99 per month at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep.
Look at all the ones that are under $10,000.
Right,
they got highlighted in yellow.
And it is a wonderful, wonderful group of cars and trucks for you to look at. And if you can't buy a truck from Premier, I don't believe you can buy one from anywhere. Remember, nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Hey, this is Chip Lindsey, head football coach of your Troy University football team. Save thousands on new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Shop PremierTroy.com, our local hometown dealership. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Did you know at Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, after 30 days of employment, that you can join our 401k retirement plan? That's right, we match it up to 4%. That's gross pay, 4% after 30 days of employment. Drive a Buck Division truck for Wiley Sanders Truck Line, be home twice a week and every weekend. You know, if these wheels roll at Wiley Sanders Truck Line, you make money. Home twice a week, every weekend. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, $1,000 sign-on bonus. Come drive for the best today.
Hey Troy fans, this is Coach Josh Lauer, head coach for your Troy University volleyball team. Save thousands on new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Shop PremierTroy.com, our local hometown dealership. Nobody beats a Premier deal, nobody.
Yeah, you can touch things, yeah.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by our wonderful friends at Bird Drugs on the corner in downtown Troy. I've had breakfast there, cracked eggs, hot grits, and bacon or sausage of your choice, and or ham, and it is all yours today from Bird Drugs on the square. In fact, I ran into an old friend of mine yesterday at Bird's around lunch. I went and got a chicken salad and pimento cheese plate to go, and a hamburger, one of those wonderful hamburgers also to go. And your mother and I had a good meal. But I bumped into an old friend of mine, and we were talking, and you know, he would from Connecticut originally, and then he came south and got a job at Luverne High School coaching football, and was there the whole time. The great coach Glenn Daniel was there, and but we kept talking, and he told me, he said, you know, I've got a grandson that's a really good player at Brantley. And I said, surely it's not Tucker Gilchrist. He said, it's Tucker Gilchrist.
Oh, my goodness.
And that his grandfather, a long-time coach at Goshen High School, at Luverne High School. And, boy, we got into some real conversation about Tucker. Not only was he a great football player, a great basketball player, and an outstanding football player, baseball, basketball, and football.
Are we talking about Tucker or the grandfather?
They're talking about Tucker. But Tucker, if they said if they had not postponed the golf tournament, the high school golf tournament, they did because of the COVID.
Yeah.
He would have probably won the state golf championship. He was leading by one when they
He is the best all-around athlete I've ever heard of in my life.
He really is.
I mean, he's the quarterback on the football team, committed to Troy. Boy, let's hope we can keep him. He's an all-state baseball player that can play with anybody in baseball. And you just said he plays basketball too.
Oh yeah.
And he's one of the best golfers around.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And probably would be one of the best tennis players around if they had a high school tennis team. But he is a great athlete, and he has committed to play for Troy.
We got to keep Tucker. He could be a legend in Troy.
He told me all he did his junior year was throw, or his sophomore year, he threw for 41 touchdowns. And then they got caught up. He got caught up, and he himself had to be quarantined with the virus last year. But he said he still had a pretty good year. He still threw for 38 touchdowns, even after he missed 3 games with the virus.
Yeah.
That is
they said that Brantley, Charles Henderson lines would pick them.
I wouldn't doubt.
Is Charles Henderson playing Brantley this year?
Yes, they are.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm going to definitely be at that one.
I was looking.
It's the craziest thing ever, though. I think they're playing in Brantley.
Well, I'm going to Brantley.
Well, it must be at Brantley. Yeah, you're right. Hey,
I've never been to a football game in Brantley. I want to go.
That's right.
They got a nice little stadium down there.
I know they will too.
They really do, and they have got great pride in their program. Of course, we mentioned already Pike County and Charles Henderson in their jamboree set for this Friday night from Veterans Memorial Stadium, and then Pike Liberal Arts just across town. They've got a showdown with Escambia, 2 of the top teams in the Alabama Independent Schools. The next week, though, I would like to share this with you, and it's still in October. I mean, still in February. It is still in
September.
Yeah. We've got Luverne and Brantley on the 27th. So. That game's played at Luverne, I believe. No, at Luverne. I might be wrong here. We'll have to check there. Yeah, Luverne and Brantley. That's going to be a huge opener for both those teams. And then, as I mentioned, Charles Henderson playing host to a very good team from Montgomery Catholic.
Shoot, I would think Brantley would be one of the fastest growing towns in Alabama. All this got going on.
Well,
we had when Coach Rigby's son Ramsey Rigby was at Elba, and he played at a small school, and he came to Troy, and we thought he was going to be, the guy. Of course, he ended up transferring out and going to a 1AA school. But I wonder, you got Jacob Bree from Brantley. He came in and played.
That's right.
Really well in spots for Troy last year. He originally signed with Vanderbilt. It's going to be interesting to see if anybody else comes back in on Gilchrist, and if Gilchrist is going to play baseball and football at Troy.
Yeah. Brantley.
Because I'd always heard Bree was a good pitcher, too, and never pitched at Troy.
Oh, yeah. He's a great pitcher, and you can do it all at Brantley High School. And, of course, they are good in everything they do, no question about it.
Well, Free, he probably doesn't get enough conversation in this quarterback talk at Troy. Troy's got 3 quarterbacks that
but
can,
now he's already decided to hang
he
it
left.
up.
Free went to Strong Hospital, coaching hospital ball now.
Yeah,
oh, I missed that. Dang.
Yeah, we talked about it on the show. He might have been out that week, but yeah, he decided to give up football, and you know, basically the quarterback battle was going down to Gunnar Watson and Taylor Powell, and then they got the Tool kid out of Georgia.
So he's still there though.
You know, he's third string.
Yeah, but now let me tell you, we got a kid that's now coaching that could play Division I college football fine. Yeah, that's right, no question.
Yeah, I know. I was telling Dad, you know, if I was an SEC program, this guy started and threw for 1,300 games, led the comeback against Coastal Carolina. I was like, shoot, I would have said, hey, go to Auburn, go to Alabama, and be 3rd or 4th string quarterback and experience that for a year.
Well, heck, he might be the starting quarterback at South Carolina right now.
Yeah, he could have played. He could have played somewhere, but he wouldn't have but 1 year of eligibility, I don't believe, and that would have hurt him.
Well, he's graduated and he's moving on with his life.
Now, is he playing for his uncle or his dad at Strong High School, Mike? His dad got back in coaching, I think.
Well, no, I think that's his uncle that's at Strong, but you know, he's playing at Brantley.
Yeah, that's right.
Kilcrest plays at Brantley. Jacob Free is coaching at Strong.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
For one of the Kilcrest, I don't know if it's Ashley. I don't know who's the head coach of Strong.
You know, we've got all these games scheduled.
You got Stephen and Eric.
You know what I would do is I would coach somewhere and then use all my pull to become a graduate assistant under Nick Saban, just like Derek Ansley did.
Yeah, that's right.
And then 10 years from then, you're going to be a millionaire, and then 20 years from there, you're going to be a head coach at a big-time program.
Look at Joe Judge, the head coach of the New York Giants. He was a graduate assistant at Alabama. Then I think he was an analyst at Alabama. He never had like an on-the-field position. He ends up getting a job with the Patriots, becomes a tight ends coach, NFL assistant coach, and now he's the head coach of the Giants.
You know, a lot of players do that. Have you noticed that a lot of these sons of coaches, they come to Alabama and they're either an analyst or they're a walk-on clipboard holder? They're smart. You know what they're doing is they're getting that resume built for becoming a coach, and it works.
And then all these guys that come back, you know, kind of get fired from other programs, and like the Kiffins and all Bill O'Brien's doing now, and Sarkisian, now they get big time jobs, and all these other guys that are on staff, they take them with them, and they end up getting assistant jobs.
I was doing my due diligence on Texas and was noting all the former Alabama staffers that are on Sarkisian's staff. Yeah, so and then they all got pay raises when they left Alabama to go to Texas. But
this is great. They're going to do the first choice cheer youth clinic set for the football opener, Dad. So that means that anybody wants to go out. The tent will open to children from 5 to 12. The cost will be $30 for an individual clinic, $50 for both clinics. The second clinic will take place November 13th as far as Troy's annual homecoming celebration. The unique experience will also have participants join the Troy cheerleaders at the Trojan Walk and in the bet for a performance of the limited edition cheerleading clinics. So that means all these little kids can actually go to the Trojan Walk and do something on the field with the cheerleaders during the game.
That's going to be a lot of fun. And only $30 for the whole deal. Is that right?
Yeah. On-site registration will be at Riddle Pace Field, begins at 2 p.m. in the Kids Zone entrance in center field. The clinic runs from 2:30 to 3:30 and Riddle Pace Field. The Trojan Walk will fall at 4 p.m. in the tailgate terrace.
Hey, anything to get people in the stadium, I like it. That's thinking good.
And that is, I tell you, this group of from the AD on down are doing a super job of exposing their program and making sure that we get all the exposure as possible.
Yeah, let's keep talking up. The first game is appreciation for all our former letter winners at Troy University. I think you get 1 ticket and then you get 4 other people.
You get 4 other tickets for free. Yeah. And so hopefully there's going to be a lot of former athletes at Troy that come to this.
And that's all athletes. That's not just football players.
I am, Mike, I'm looking at some stuff on Alabama that might be of interest to you. Where it says where Alabama's football recruiting stands right now. All right, I want you to hear it. Levon Moss decommitted on August the 12th, but Jake Pope, do you know anything about Jake Pope, committed to Alabama on August the 16th. Alabama's 2022 recruiting class still stands at 14 commitments after a busy 5 days.
Yeah, Pope's the kid out of Georgia, the safety that committed.
All right, and also the Crimson Tide lost 4-star running back out of Baton Rouge, but picked up a 3-star Georgia safety. Alabama gained versatility in Pope, who's the 26th ranked safety in the country, according to 24/7 Sports in the composite. He is the last line of defensive players that Alabama signed, and he also returns kicks and plays receiver for Buford High School, a very good high school in Georgia. But
he reminds me, he looks like Turner at Clemson, who was starting his, is he a 6-year guy at Clemson?
That's right.
And, you know, he is all preseason, all conference in the ACC. This is a kid that Alabama didn't offer a scholarship to, and the son of
Nolan Turner.
Yeah, the son of the great Kevin Turner.
But is he still playing at Clemson? Has he got another year? Golly.
Dad, everybody got another year.
That's right.
They could have gone pro, but he did. He obviously loves football, and he is going to be one again. He was one of the key players for Clemson last year. He's going to be a key player for Clemson again.
He said the 6'1", 190-pound Pope is Alabama's second defensive back commitment, and in-state Anniston High School commitment. Antonio Kite is the other one, and it just we went on through and took a look at some of these other guys that Alabama.
Let's talk about the
from.
prospects in the NFL. Michael, have you been reading about the who's going to start at the Patriots debate, Cam or Mac Jones? It looks like
apparently Belichick hadn't said who's going to be the starter. Yeah.
The Athletic has had some good stories on this, and it seems like there is a decent chance that Mac Jones might beat out Cam Newton and be the starter even as a rookie. Or they're saying, the writers up there are saying, even if he doesn't start in game 1, a lot of them are expecting him to take over at some point in the season. That he's looked really good.
Cam seems like he's basically just kind of a runner now. His throwing ability has kind of gotten worse over the years. It's hard to believe it's 11 years for Cam Newton though in the NFL. Of course, he was MVP one year, but he's never really been the same quarterback since he left the Panthers.
He's taken so many hits, and it's taken a toll on his body. I would still like to see him start with Cam and see how he does, and let Mac, learn and bring him along slowly. But I also think Mac Jones, the more he plays, the better he's going to get. So I think the Patriots are going to be fine if they got to put Mac Jones in at quarterback.
I was reading an article, Dad. It's funny how Troy has gotten transfers in on the football program. They got this kid out of Auburn, and I think he was like a third-string running back at Auburn, and then they moved him to defensive back. So his name's Devon Barrett. He's a junior because he got a year back last year. He's 6 foot, 200 pounds. He's out of Tampa, Florida. He played at Tampa Catholic. But when you read numbers on kids, it's always fascinating to me. Out of high school, he was a multi-talented athlete at Tampa Catholic, playing running back and safety. He rushed for 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns in 9 games, 1,600 all-purpose yards. Had 45 career touchdowns, rushed for over 4,000 yards in high school. Top 25 athlete for ESPN, top 15 athlete by Scout, top 15 running back by 24/7 Sports. Placed number 175 of players in the country in the ESPN Top 300. Also, was a great basketball player in Florida. So this guy goes to Auburn. He's a third-string running back. They move him to safety. Now he's transferred to Troy. Troy's going to play him at safety or corner. Isn't it amazing? I mean, this guy was a 4-star prospect and just never saw the field at Auburn.
That's right.
But you know this guy's got to be a good athlete. Coach Lindsey was saying how he can run. So maybe this guy can help Troy this year.
Yeah, it's quite a exactly.
It's just amazing to read up on kids, that are 4 stars and what they did in high school, and then they get to a big SEC program, never see the field. Happens at Alabama all the time as well.
Yep, happens everywhere. You're right.
And you're exactly right.
Only way you can play at the next level is that's what I don't understand about these guys is you got to have film. These NFL coaches, they got to see you play.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I'm just amazed more guys just sit there, for years and years. I can kind of understand it at Alabama because you got a chance to win 2 or 3 national championships, and you want to have that ring for the rest of your life. So I can understand that. But man, it's also an opportunity to play, down in the Sun Belt at some of these schools.
Yeah. I was looking at the coaches that are in the doghouse or have that have
on the hot seat.
On the hot seat, yeah, exactly. And it's very interesting. But something I read here, listen to this. Did you know South Carolina had to pay a lump sum to Will Muschamp, $12.9 million that Will Muschamp got from South Carolina to leave? Can you believe that? That kind of money. I don't think South Carolina has got that kind of money, but they paid Will Muschamp $12.9 million to leave the pro.
Well, how much did Auburn pay Malzahn?
Oh yeah, but Auburn and South Carolina are different people to me. I can see Auburn being able to pay it. And,
how much did Texas have to pay Herman before they hired Sarkisian?
I'll tell you that for a fact. Texas laid out $15.4 million to get rid of Tom Herman. And where did Herman go? Did he go anywhere?
I don't know.
Auburn
I can find out.
Let me tell you some Texas intelligence I've gleaned from Phil Steele magazine.
Yeah.
Texas lost 3 games last year by less than a touchdown each game. They lost in double overtime to Oklahoma. The other 2 games they lost came down to 1 play. So here's the difference between being fired and getting that $15 million buyout and being the coach of the year. They make 3 different plays in those 3 ball games. They're in the top 4 in the country and in the playoffs playing for a national championship.
These coaches can smile on their face. And of course, we will mention that Auburn forked out.
Tom Herman's an offensive analyst, special projects coach with the Chicago Bears.
Okay. Auburn forked out over $21 million to move on from Gus Malzahn. I think I could have lived with him until his contract run out instead of paying that kind of money.
Now let's reference back
that's a lot of money.
What did I say 30 minutes ago? You get you a job as an analyst or a grad assistant at for Nick Saban or one of these premier programs, and one day you too can be paid $20 million to not coach.
Yeah. And
you can move down there to Grayton Beach with Michael.
Yeah. The coach would say, well, we'll give it another shot, and if I don't win, I'll just go ahead and get my buyout. And it's just amazing what they're paying these coaches to leave their school.
I'll tie it all into what's going on in college football.
It just doesn't sound good. But again, Auburn led the list with Malzahn, $21 million for Malzahn to move on.
You know why they can do that? It's because they're getting big money from a company called Walt Disney and ESPN that they can buy out these coaches. They can build the athletic facilities with the waterfalls thanks to that big, huge money. And they're trying to make sure they keep all this big, huge money by doing all the stuff they're doing right now.
A lot of people like Clay Helton and Southern Cal, but if he doesn't win, he's gone. Jim Harbaugh, the head coach at Michigan, everybody thinks that would be an automatic success, but he's got another year. If he doesn't win, he's gone.
But he's going to be if he's gone.
Yeah.
Then he'll be okay, won't he?
Well, it's according to whatever he's got as
The contract. But
yeah, that's right, the contract. Justin Fuentes, the coach at Virginia Tech's the same way, and Herm Edwards. How many jobs has Herm Edwards had? The head coach at Arizona State. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, Will Muschamp is a defensive analyst at Georgia, but he's having to step in right now and serve as special teams coach and coordinator because Scott Cochran has left the Georgia program. He's seeking mental health treatment.
Oh boy, isn't that unreal?
Yeah, that's
and you could tell that he needed something. I tell you, he would get. But he would. What I could not understand, Mike. He went from being a strength coach to a position coach. How in the world do you do that?
Well, you know, he applied for the head job at Southern Miss as well, and apparently Jeremy McClain, Troy's former athletic director, came out and said he interviewed.
Yeah.
Tremendously.
Yeah.
He wanted to get on the field at Alabama for years, but Saban wouldn't allow him. He wanted him to stay as a strength coach, and you know, Kirby and him built a relationship. You know, Kirby was at Alabama for 10 years and brought Cochran over to Georgia. But everybody tells me Scott's a great guy, and I've got a lot of friends that are friends with him and his wife and family, and we wish him the best. Hopefully he'll get back on the field and, you know, get the treatment he needs.
That's right. That's right.
There's a great story in the Montgomery Advertiser, if you can get a hold of one today, about this kid Pope, and it talked about that in the state championship game, he stopped him. You know, if you remember these goal line stands, they said he was out there and he was the only one out there, and he stood him straight up and won the ball game. You know, and of course, a lot of good stories about this guy. He said he actually, listen to this, he turned down Ohio State, Notre Dame, North Carolina, and Georgia to get him. Alabama feels like they got a real good one
he's only 3-star. That's very rare that Alabama takes a 3-star. But you know, some of these 3-stars they've taken have ended up being first-round NFL draft picks.
And some real good stories. Of course, Alabama's 14 commits, 9 who committed it this summer, and that was their camps too. You know, they get them trapped. I've always said this: what are you going to do? All right, you're at Nick Saban's camp, and he calls you into his office that you're a high school kid, you know, and everybody's wanting you. And Nick Saban calls him into his office and says, well, son, we're looking for you to be a tight end at Alabama, and I'll just tell you right now, we're gonna sign one tight end, and it's gonna be you. And if not, we're gonna go out and sign another kid. But again, Nick Saban putting somebody in their office, and he's got to say yes or no. This is a high school kid. I don't see how to do it. I really don't. But I can understand why Alabama gets them, you know, because they're.
Well, you only got 25 scholarships, and now, Max, let's ask you this. You give 25 scholarships to high school kids in the past, but now wouldn't you want to hold back 2 or 3 that you know you're going to be able to get some really good transfers? And some schools are probably holding back 5 or 6 because they're going to go heavier in the transfer portal. But why do you need to sign good high school players when you can sign good transfers from Troy?
All right, Max Howell is our guest, and of course one of the top football analysts in the country. Max, we're gonna put you on hold. I mean, not put you on hold, but we're gonna go to our commercial. We'll be back with Max Howell in just a moment.
Hey, this is Chip Lindsey, head football coach of your Troy University football team. Save thousands on new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Shop PremierTroy.com, our local hometown dealership. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Did you know at Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, after 30 days of employment, that you can join our 401k retirement plan? That's right, we match it up to 4%. That's gross pay, 4% after 30 days of employment. Drive a Buck Division truck for Wiley Sanders Truck Line, be home twice a week and every weekend. You know, if these wheels roll at Wiley Sanders Truck Line, you make money. Home twice a week, every weekend. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, $1,000 sign-on bonus. Come drive for the best today.
Hey Troy fans, this is Coach Josh Lauer, head coach for your Troy University volleyball team. Save thousands on new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Shop PremierTroy.com, our local hometown dealership. Nobody beats a Premier deal, nobody.
We appreciate
Dude, I've got, you wouldn't believe all the restaurants and bars I have down here that are having to close.
Back to our show brought to you by our great friends at Road Mart, and we appreciate them. They've been with us for a long time, and we appreciate them so much, being one of our strong, and also Piggly Wiggly. And boy, I love to shop Piggly Wiggly.
Let me tell you a Piggly Wiggly story. My wife went to the one on the bypass yesterday. We always shop at the one on our side of town, and she said that's the first time she'd ever been in that one, and she was blown away about how big it was and how much it had and how clean it was.
Very good people too, no question about it. Max Howell is our guest this morning. Good morning, Max.
Morning, Mike. How you guys doing?
You getting ready, buddy? You getting ready?
Listen, Mike, it's time. We've been waiting almost 2 years for this now. Hopefully to get back to some normalcy, whatever that is. To see how, and I was listening to you right before you went to the break about the recruiting situation. Basically, the Big Ten Division schools have held back 2 or 3 scholarships anyway for academic problems, junior college transfers. If you go back and look at the numbers, 20 to 22 was kind of the maximum they signed on signing day. They always held 2 or 3 scholarships, but I agree. I think some of the schools will hold more than that, particularly the way the portal, the transfer rule in Division I has evolved into.
So when you see a class that already has 19 commitments, you say, well, dang, that class might be almost done. I mean, if you're going to leave some spots for.
I think it will be. No, I agree with you. I think it will be.
Boy, I tell you.
Because, I mean, you can get some great players. I'm reading about Texas Tech and Phil Still's magazine, and they're talking about their receiving core, and they brag about this high impact transfer they got from Troy. It's going to be an instant starter and star at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
But guys, I'm going to tell you, I mean, you've been around it long. There's a tremendous amount of physical difference between an 18-year-old and a 21-year-old.
No question about it.
Particularly those programs that have excellent monitored weight programs. It's a major difference. And I go back. With you guys, I keep making the reference back. Well, we were at Troy, did what we were doing. We didn't sign a half a dozen high school kids in those days. I mean, we took Shelley and Al Head and Rusty Nanus and Bill Russell, but not many of those guys came out of high school.
Yeah, that's right.
Our core base was kids that played the SEC the year before. That means they were probably 20 years old.
That's right.
It was already mature. And, we took advantage of that.
And it worked.
It did work.
No doubt about it. It changed the whole university, matter of fact. And also think about these coaches that are making these decisions the ones that are go heavy into the transfer portal are the ones that are on the hot seat.
Yeah,
absolutely right.
They don't know that they have 3 or 4 years to develop a high school kid. They got to win next year. And if they got to win next year, they're going to get this kid from the Sun Belt instead of the kid from Brantley.
No doubt. I agree 100% with that. And, you know, as long as the rules say that way, would you? I mean, think about it. If it meant my job on the line, be taking 5 or 6 kids that transfer out of a big, strong Division I because they weren't playing there, that didn't mean they weren't a good athlete. They were recruited. They were recruited to go to that school first. So, you know, they were talented. And now they're a couple of years older, they've been through that program, I'd go get them in a heartbeat.
You know, it works both ways. At Troy, it works. You're getting the backup that was still a good high school prospect that just can't play because he's got a first-round draft pick in front of him. And then at the big schools, they're looking at the star players from the smaller schools and say, well, you can play. We know you can play. You've shown it. Come up, you can play at our level too.
Of course, so
that's happening, and I still say somewhere that in that procedure, the rules have to change somewhere because it's changed the face of college football. We know that, but recruiting is the opportunity for those kids to go on to the next level. Some of them will go missing unless they go to a smaller school, knowing that they're going to get a chance to transfer. And I'm not sure. There's some people out there that can manipulate that as well, guys. I'm telling you, some coaches
and it goes all the way back. It goes all the way back to the Sun Belt. The most noticeable team as far as getting the kids off the portal is South Alabama. I mean, they got 14 that are ready to play right now.
I think it's now like 16.
It's at 16. So. You can build a team overnight.
Let's say the other end of the spectrum is teams that have lost players to the portal. You know how many Tennessee lost from last year?
Yeah,
26 players gone. I mean, so you have 85 scholarship players. Well, you subtract 26 from that, and you're down to 60.
Oh boy!
All gone. One of them starting middle linebacker at Alabama right now.
Oh, I tell you, that is unreal. Where Tennessee's flopped to, it is amazing.
Now they lost 26 in the portal. I'm sure they went out and grabbed 12 to supplement that.
Yeah. Max, you've been in it all. You've done a lot of recruiting over the years, but Tennessee. A proud program, high in the world. Can they stay on top or have any chance to win with that kind of problem? Yeah.
That goes back further than just the athletic department. You go back and look at the academic side. They've had multiple turnovers in their board of trustees. They've had 3 chancellors in their last 10 years in Tennessee. They've been in debt publicly. At one time, right after Pat Summitt died, they were trying to merge back the women and be in sports. You look internally, they were $4 to $5 million in debt when they started. They couldn't sell the stadium out. It was a lot of internal things that went on that led to this. What jumps out at everybody, obviously, is the athletic department, the programs that's out in the public every day and on television. And that was some bad decisions and bad hires, and they're going to pay the price for that.
Well, you know what? I think they were a last straw was bringing Philip Fullman back into the fold, and and evidently it didn't work at all. Yeah.
Well, somebody told me he's moved out of Knoxville. I think he lives in Hattiesburg now.
Oh yeah.
He got out of town literally.
I was told that. Yeah, there'll be some other stuff fixing to break.
And at one time, he was one of the only coaches in America that could stand up to Alabama. He was a heck of a coach.
He moved to Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Yeah.
You know what I think about Tennessee? I think it's karma. They were after Alabama so bad, and I still remember when Tennessee won a national championship, and they had 11 players that were eligible academically because they had grades changed to make them eligible. Not one test. Their semester grades were changed Remember that professor was a whistleblower, and she brought that up, and it just nothing. It came out that, well, yeah, they did change the grades, but it was okay because the same professors had changed grades for non-athletes. But I thought about it, and I said, that's 85 of your players, and 10 of them would have been ineligible if they wouldn't have had their grades. That is big time, something strange going on there. And they walked on it. And now I think a little karma the last decade has hit them. That's a personal editorial opinion.
Things like that on the inside, guys, that, you know, it made the public, but the average fan doesn't, you know, pay attention to that kind of stuff. They want to see the games on Saturday. They read the score. It doesn't matter whether it's football, basketball, or what. But you're right. Internal problems brought that program down. And I'm not sure if you go back and do a history check, go back and see when Texas was on top. Go back when Southern Cal was on top. Things like that were happening in programs. Oklahoma, right at the end of Barry Switzer's era. Go back and look at those things that happened internally. You're going to see that there's a pattern there. That when schools get to that point where they're driven nothing but by winning at any cost, I think that's the end result. And it takes a while to redeem that once it's kind of get cleaned up.
Want to mention, of course, you know, the college poll is out, preseason AP top 25, you know, of course, it has Alabama. Other than Oklahoma, I don't know if any team on this list can play with Alabama. What is your feeling, Max?
I think it's going to be, I think, and I'm not sure. I know the offensive side, you know, is highly publicized. Oklahoma, Big 12 hadn't played defense in years. And, you know, that's who all the polls kind of got matched up in this thing. I have seen one or two where Clemson may end up there, but we'll get a chance to see Clemson and Georgia, that opening ball game, see how good either one of those teams are.
Yeah,
but that's probably the, you know, the universal pick on how the playoffs are going to end up. And of course, you got injury situations. You got a lot of intangibles. That we don't know. We don't know what the virus situation is.
No, you're going to have forfeit. You have a team take a forfeit, which is a permanent loss on your record. That knocks you out of the playoffs, right?
Very well.
Yeah.
You're right.
I tell you, it's really...
It's hard to, you know, preseason's fun to talk about.
And then I want to make the point. It's not the virus that is making these teams forfeit the games. It's the virus protocols, the conference. Everybody thinks it's the virus, but it's all these guidelines they've established that bureaucrats established that say you've got to forfeit this game.
Yeah, but won't they be more lax if they're 100% vaccinated? They don't have those guidelines, do they?
You know, but I still think that there's tons of players that are vaccinated that are still testing positive, so I guess they're still going to kick in.
See, I didn't think they had to wear masks and do all the stuff they did last year.
Well, I don't think they do, but
fully vaccinated.
But if somebody comes down with the virus, which they are still coming down with the virus, they're still going to have anybody that was spent 15 minutes around that person within 6 feet is going to have to sit out for 14 days, vaccinated or not.
Probably the only team that has their quarterback back, Oklahoma, and they've got a great one, a guy that can really make some things happen.
Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, he's the only. Georgia's got but I don't know how many downs he's played. He got a chance.
He played for 4 ball games. Yeah, he only played 4.
And high in the world, everybody talks about Texas A&M. Well, they lost. They don't have their quarterback, and I don't know if you can figure them in unless they have a better quarterback than they had last year.
But they say they do.
The Bud kids started 4 years for them, and I saw the spring game. They alternated 2 quarterbacks in that Jimbo did. And I'll be honest with you guys, they're the one of nearly as good as Bryce Young. They'll be substantial. They got a great running back. They had to replace 2 or 3 offensive linemen. The defense returned 9 starters. They'll be competitive. But I still look at, I've told y'all before, I look at the history of Texas A&M, and it is not a glowing picture. They've had talent there before. Texas has been down before, but it's been a long time since they won a championship.
You know, they got two teams. One of them ranked 7th and the other one ranked 8th in Iowa State and Cincinnati. It just, you know, they just doesn't seem right, to have those two teams in the top 10. But Cincinnati's a pretty impressive team, and they've got their quarterback back. And
so does Iowa State.
No telling how good Cincinnati might be this year.
But I'm going to be interested to watch that. You know, they complained a little bit because they were left out of the, playoff. They're going to look at the strength of schedule first. With a team that comes from a smaller Division I team that has done well, and they've done well there. Groundwork being laid. Remember, I believe that was Tommy Tuberville's last stop in Division I as far as the coaching concerned. So they built that program to that level. I don't think they can compete with, either the top 4 or 5 programs right now. We'll see. I think depth. Georgia struggled with them a little bit last year. They did end up beating them up in the bowl game, but Georgia was ranked in the top 5 most of the year last year, even though they lost to Florida. So I think it might. There's going to be 2 or 3. Here's the thing: if we always know, we know there's going to be some upsets in particularly the first week or 2. I tried to go through the schedule a couple of days ago. I looked at some that were possibility, but since everybody was so hamstrung last year, I think the emphasis on preparation early in the season this year is going to be much better than we've seen historically.
Who's gonna catch Auburn? Akron or Alabama State first 2 games?
Yeah, the Auburn situation is still so unusual. I'm out of the market.
I was joking around though.
What did I say again?
I said I was joking about Akron or Alabama State catching Auburn.
Oh, I know. No, I'm not more, but I'm just saying. I had seen a poll that they were listed in the top 25, and most of the over-unders, is like at 7 wins this year. Well, Auburn fans are going to be, by the end of the year, if they don't bounce that thing back, they've got Bo Nix back, they've got a couple of transfers. They hired Mason to run the defense from Vanderbilt. I mean, he's doing a lot of things. And I read an article the other day where he's got his coaches going through the drills with the players. My first question was, they don't play on Saturday. I still just wonder where that team is, in all fairness.
I've got a feeling, just my gut feeling, and this guy has been successful everywhere he's coached. I've got a feeling Auburn's going to be at least a 9-3, 8-4 team.
Oh, man.
Well, it's hard. Yeah, and it's hard. They should be. And we'll find out real quick about the recruiting.
Yeah.
If that has held up through the Malzahn era, and those guys that they brought in, I think they'll be coached very well. But something tells me that, and it's just because we don't know more than anything else. I guess the question is, why do they shut the information off?
They've really done it. You're right. Nobody knows much about Auburn. You're right.
They don't.
I mean, Auburn's going to lose to Penn State, Georgia, LSU, maybe Ole Miss, Alabama for sure. Texas A&M will probably beat them. Texas A&M will probably beat them.
Yeah, well, but that's going to be a pretty tough schedule. You're right, but I think they got a good coach. I really do. Of course,
I think Hartson was a outside the box hire. I think he was a really good coach. I would have never thought that he would, be a guy that would have gotten the Auburn job. But it's not a bad hire for any. I mean, he was offensive coordinator at Texas too before he got the head job at Arkansas State. As Arkansas State won the league that 1 year he's at Arkansas State, and then we know what he did to Troy when he was at Boise State. He destroyed Troy. So he's a good coach.
Yeah, no question about it. Well, Max, tell us a little bit about your radio show. Is it off and running?
Well, we have, what we've done is I've moved that closer to the. Because it's the internet, it's a recording. It's a pre-recorded show.
Okay.
It's not much availability in North Mississippi to get a studio. I finally nailed one down, going this afternoon to do some sampling cutting. I'm not going to actually operate now. They're not going to play that first show to that week right before the opening season.
Okay.
So I moved that back mainly because we didn't have enough facilities to do that. So we're still, it's just like every other startup, Mike. You know, it's hurry up and wait. We get everything trying to get in place, and that thing is just hadn't fallen in place yet. But the internet radio is a faction that's coming to the market right now. So we're excited about it, and we got the music up and running right now. It's a free app. You go to Apple, Southern Classic Radio. They'll give you classic rock and classic country music. We'll have some specialty shows. But we did sign Lindy's Magazine, Lynn Scarborough do the Lindy Report. There were about 110 stations across the country. We're going to have them on a Friday and Saturday morning show as well. So we're slowly building it, but it's a challenge. I'll be honest with you.
Do you have any kind of picket show? Do you have any kind of show that picks games? You would think that would be the most popular.
No, it's going to be all recorded, Mike.
Yeah.
It's going to be all being a guest host. And, we'll sit there and talk about the games on the past weekends. It's going to be. I'm going to do 1 hour a week.
Yeah. Okay.
Not that get back in this thing full time like you guys did. Too much water under the bridge.
Yeah, I understand. I understand that.
Get ready every day.
Of course, you're one of the top people at what you do in the country, and I would think any show that you were on would be highly reputable. I was looking today also for you football fans, you pro football fans. Thursday night we've got a good one for you. We got New England against Philadelphia, and I think you'll see a lot of Jones, the former Alabama quarterback in that game.
Mac Jones versus Jalen Hurts.
That's right.
Wow.
And
right. Cam Newton on top of that. So
exactly
all three quarterbacks we all care about in this neck of the woods.
No question about it.
Devontae Smith, the Heisman Trophy winner, is supposed to be back from injury.
And he's with Philadelphia.
He's been injured.
Yeah, he's been, but he's back, and it's going to be that's going to be a great game.
Pro football yesterday, the Jacksonville Jaguars released the great Tim Tebow. His tight end comeback did not work. So Urban Meyer, his former coach, had to release Tebow yesterday.
Yeah, I bet that was not an easy decision for Meyer because everybody was pulling for Tebow.
I don't know why.
Tebow was not a good blocker. Urban Meyer mentioned that you got to be able to block and you got to be able to play special teams to make a roster. And unfortunately, Tebow didn't do enough of that to stay on the team.
I don't like people beating up on Urban Meyer, though, for giving him a tryout.
Yeah, I don't either.
He's got 90 players. There's one player that has been meant a lot to your life and is really a great athlete and story. So what? I mean, you gave him a tryout and he got cut. What's the big deal?
And of course, Max, I would say this. It came all the way back to just general mechanics. Can he block? You got to be able to do those things,
You got to understand at that top level, there are very few political hires.
Yeah.
You got to perform at that level.
And most tight ends in the pros are 270 and 280, aren't they? They're big.
Yeah,
big guys.
Some of them are like these wide receivers that are playing, and they say tight end. They're really kind of slot backs or H backs. They rarely.
I think the best picture that we in this part of the country could see from that position last year was the Pitts kid from Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was 6'6" and 245 pounds, and he was, they love to match him up on the linebacker.
Oh yeah.
Safety. And that's what the NFL's going to do. They're going to probably use him as a slot
right.
back.
Yeah, they don't line up and block a defensive end only occasionally.
Yeah.
I mean, mostly.
But of course, it remains to be seen about all of the rest of these teams in the top 25. And it's after you get by Alabama and Oklahoma, I think the rest of it, even though Ohio State,
it's the usual suspects every year. It's
the top five, Alabama, Oklahoma, Clemson, Ohio State, and Georgia. You can't go much better than those.
It's been that way for 10 years.
I think the polls have got the top 5 picked. I don't think there's any doubt right now. But, you know, the two of them play each other. Right.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That makes a big change, yeah.
So we'll get a chance to read that. Now, if Georgia gets beat, you know, they still got Florida, and I don't know how good they're going to be this year, but Mullen will come up with something simple for them. And if they win the East, I don't think any of y'all think that they can beat Alabama. I sure don't.
I don't either.
But you know, but you're right. Even if they lose, it's nothing. It doesn't matter at all. Because if they run the table in the East and beat Florida, which they'll probably be favored to do, and then they'll get a chance to play Alabama probably in the SEC championship. So if they beat Florida and Alabama, they're in the playoffs, even with a loss.
Yeah. Well, I guess you're giving them a win over Clemson, though.
No, I'm saying even if they lose to Clemson, if they win the rest of their games.
Let's take that the other way. If Clemson loses to Georgia, you tell me who's going to beat them?
Nobody.
Nobody. It's not the ACC.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter to Clemson, really. Unless everybody else is somehow, if you got 4 undefeated teams, which never happens. But Georgia has the schedule to overcome a loss. Clemson, not so much, because Clemson doesn't even play Miami or North Carolina, I don't think. They would play them in the conference championship game.
That's about right, yeah.
If they win the ACC, it doesn't matter. They're going to be in.
That's
probably
right, yeah. Well, Max, you know, everybody's sitting there waiting and said, hey, you know, we want to know what's for dinner, what's for dinner.
But listen, Mike, this week, one of our top couples is on a trip to Oregon in the Northwest. I'm house sitting this week. Beautiful house way out in the country. Their front yard's 2 or 3 acres, and you know, they got deer stands in the backyard and all that stuff. I'm sitting out here on a beautiful deck next to the pool. I'm going to have those people, the others, out to their house this weekend. We're going to probably this late in the season. We'll do light. We'll do probably some of the guys will go fishing. We'll even do fish or shrimp that we'll pick up over the weekend. And, you know, we got a big grill out there. We'll either grill some, we'll deep fry some.
It's just laid back, isn't it, Max? Just laid back.
This time of year, man.
Yeah.
Look, and the other side of that is that opening weekend. Of course, it does look.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So we'll have a big bird cookout on that September.
And what goes best with Dove is grits and homemade biscuits.
See, I'll be in Troy that first weekend, but I'll be back on the road early Sunday morning.
Yeah, and of course we want to mention that you go into the Troy University Hall of Fame on September 3rd. September 3rd.
Yeah, that's a Friday night on September 3rd. And of course, Troy opens up next evening against Southern. I believe that gives them 6.
I'm looking forward to that.
Induction ceremony.
Wonderful people, that induction ceremony, and looking forward to it. Thank you, Max. Appreciate it. Want to mention also.
We'll talk to you next week.
All right,
I want to mention also on a sad note, a good friend of mine, Johnny Green, lost his life this week, and I want to send out our prayers and our,
I'm so sorry.
To all of your family and so forth. And what a great guy. He went through a lot in his life, and boy, he was a great steward of Troy University and Charles Tennyson High School and Pike Liberal Arts, and he was a great outdoorsman too. He had several programs that he worked with handicapped children, and he's gone, and we are going to miss Johnny Green.
We sure are. We're so sorry.
That funeral is today, and I think.
I missed that. I'm so sorry.
We appreciate you watching our show today, and we'll be back on tomorrow right here on Today in LA.
Hey, this is Chip Lindsey, head football coach of your Troy University football team. Save thousands on new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Shop PremierTroy.com, our local hometown dealership. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell